This is Magnific AI. It's one of the best image upscalers in the world, and it costs a fortune. This is better. This is HYPIR, a brand new open-source tool that just dropped, and it's completely free. I'm not kidding. In this video, I'm putting it through a series of impossible tests to prove it might just make paid upscalers obsolete. And if you stick with me, I will show you exactly how to install and run it for unlimited generations, even if you don't have a GPU. Let's go. The wizards behind HYPIR just dropped the code for this thing, and the results are just wow. We're talking about taking ancient, noisy, low-res photos and just injecting them with new life, bringing out details you would have sworn were gone forever. The official paper even shows HYPIR crushing it in user studies. That means when actual people looked at the results, they picked HYPIR's work over the competition time and time again. And the wildest part, unlike a lot of these top-tier IA models that take an eternity to process, HYPIR is fast. It uses a single-pass system, so you're not left staring at a progress bar for ages. Let's just pop over to their project page for a sec so you can see exactly what I'm hyping up. Check out this example from an old photograph. The input is super low quality, but the aftershot from HYPIR is breathtaking. You can see every single strand of hair, the tiny details in the flowers, even the texture of the umbrella way in the back. It's all there. It's worth pointing out that the absolute god-tier results on their page come from a version built on Flux, which isn't open source just yet. The one we get to play with is based on Stable Diffusion 2, but as you're about to see, even this little brother model is an absolute monster. And it's not just for sprucing up old photos. Look at how it handles text. They feed it this itty-bitty blurry piece of a building, and bam, the restored version has perfectly clear, readable text. It's insanely good at figuring out and rebuilding those fine details. Look at this movie poster, or this picture of a monkey. The before is just a blurry blob, but in HYPIR's after, you can literally count the individual hairs on its face. The amount of detail it can bring back is just on another level. But this is where things get even crazier. HYPIR can actually be guided by text prompts. In this insane example, they took a picture of a snowy, rocky coast, but by just adding the prompt seaside town, white houses, the AI straight up transforms those rocks into a coastal village. It's like a little window into the future of creative image editing. Again, this feature is probably way more powerful in that unreleased Flux model, but the fact that this is even a thing is just awesome. Okay, enough gawking at their examples. It's time to put this thing to the test myself. I've got some seriously tough images lined up, so let's see how it does. Stick with me, because after we see what it's made of, I'll give you the quick and dirty on how this magic works. And then I'll walk you through how to install and run it for free, forever, even if you don't have a GPU. Let's go. All right, let's do this. Once you've got it running, you see this super clean Gradio interface. It's dead simple. You pop your image in here, and you've got this little box for a text prompt. That's for those special situations when you need to tell the AI what to do, like fixing text or changing specific objects. But the main event, the real magic wand, is this upscale factor slider. It goes all the way from 1 to 8. Now, don't just think bigger is better. Changing this number also tweaks the processing steps and the final quality. Here's the pro tip. Sometimes an image looks amazing at 2x, but turns into a hot mess at 8x. Other times, you need to crank it to 7x or 8x to get that magic. As we go through these tests, you'll see what I mean. There's also a seed option if you want to roll the dice on a different result, but we'll just leave that at -1 for now. First up, I've got this super old, super noisy photograph. I mean, the grain is just everywhere. I'm not going to use a prompt for this. We don't need it. Let's just kick things off with a simple 2x upscale and see what happens. A 2x or 3x upscale is super quick, usually done in about 10 seconds. And there it is. Whoa. Okay. You can immediately see how beautifully it cleaned up the image at just 2x. If you really zoom in and pixel peep, there's still a hint of noise, but the difference is massive. The original was so grainy, and this is already looking incredibly clean. I'm going to bump it to 3x. I think that might just knock out the rest of the noise. And here is the 3x result. The noise is basically gone, and now you can make out every single strand of hair. It keeps that classic black and white look, of course. Its job is to restore, not to colorize. Honestly, for 3x, this is a phenomenal result. I don't even think I need to push it any further. But just looking at it like this doesn't do it justice. I set up a slider so we can do a direct before and after. Okay, brace yourself. This was the before, and this is the after. Look at that change. it's just completely clean, crisp, and beautiful. And notice how similar it is. It's almost a perfect match to the original composition, no weird face swapping or anything. That is a huge issue I have with other tools like Magnific, which can get a little too creative. This kept it incredibly faithful. What a fantastic start. Let's get to our next image. I'm uploading another old black and white shot. This one isn't as noisy, but it's got a whole lot of blur going on. This is a pretty tough old photograph. Let's see what it can do, starting again at 2x. Okay, so here's our 2x result. It's still a little bit grainy, but it's definitely a huge improvement over the original. It needs more juice, though. Let's try cranking it up to 3x. Okay, here's the 3x, and we're getting a little bit of a weird artifact in the eyes, which can happen. But overall, it has improved the image like crazy. Still, I think we can go bigger. Let's jump straight to a 5x upscale. Now we are talking. This is the 5x result. The eye weirdness is totally gone, and just look at the detail in the hair. Check out the grass down at the bottom. The level of detail it has literally pulled out of a blur is just nuts. In the original, you can see the photo is in terrible shape. Let me show you the side-by-side on this one. Okay, look at this. This was before, and this is after. The difference is just completely night and day. Look at the grass, look at the hair. Every single part of this image has been drastically improved with brand new detail. I am so blown away by this free, unlimited model. I was not expecting it to be this good. Okay, next I'm throwing a really tricky one at it. It's a bird flying out of a hole in a tree. The whole image is super blurry. You can barely see any details at all. Let's see how HYPIR handles this starting at 2x. Okay, whoa, even at just 2x, the improvement is gigantic. It's not perfect yet, but look at the texture on that tree. Compared to the original, it's a world of difference. But 2x isn't going to cut it. Let's try 3x. Oh, wow, just look at this. At 3x, look at the feathers on the bird. It still needs more detail, but for a 10-second generation, that's just wild. Let's not stop here. Let's push it to 5x and see what happens. Okay, check out this 5x result. The detail is incredible now. The texture on the bird, the texture on the tree bark, it's just awesome. I'm going to push it even further. Let's try 7x. And here's the 7x result. It's even more detailed, maybe a little bit too detailed for my personal taste. The feathers feel a little bit sharper, the tree is more defined. I think I might actually prefer the 5x or 6x result. Sometimes you can overcook it. The 6x and 7x results are pretty close and take about 30 to 40 seconds on these smaller images. Let's pull up the side-by-side so you can really appreciate this transformation. I'll zoom in a bit. This was the before, and this is the after. You can see for yourself how much detail it brought back. You can see every single feather. Now, let's zoom right in on the bird. Before, after, before, after. Look at the beak, the eye. It's brought back every single detail, and all of this is for free. This is a perfect result. For our next test, I have a very small blurry photo of a woman. Let's see how this does at 2x. For this kind of image that has less extreme blur, a lower upscale factor might be all we need. And yeah, it's done in just a couple of seconds. You can see it's already brought back a ton of detail and completely zapped the blurriness. But it could be a little bit better. Let's try 3x next. Okay, the 3x result is in. If you zoom all the way in, you can still spot some teeny tiny artifacts, but it's a very impressive generation. I'm thinking 4x might be the sweet spot. So I went ahead and tried both 4x and 5x. This is where things get interesting. On the 5x result, her face becomes absolutely flawless. No artifacts, no noise, the hair is perfect. But look closely at the texture of her clothes. It's actually introduced a little bit of blurriness down here, while adding amazing fabric detail up here. Now, if I flip over to the 4x result, you get some very faint, almost invisible artifacts on her face, but the fabric texture is perfect everywhere. So you see, it's a trade-off. You have to play with that slider to find the perfect balance for your image. Overall, the 4x is a fantastic result. Let's check the overlay. This was the before, in pretty rough shape, and this is the after. It's just beautifully restored. You can see every strand of hair, and the texture of the fabric is just mind-blowing. From zero texture in the original to this perfectly detailed fabric. What a great result!
For our next test, I've got a blurry photo of a bride with flowers in her hair. It's a really nice shot, but it's seriously lacking in detail. I tried it at 2x and 3x, but I was getting some weird artifacts. But check out this result at 5x. The details on the flowers are now just fantastic. It's a good reminder that sometimes cranking it all the way to 7x or 8x can actually make the image worse, so you really have to experiment. Since this is free and unlimited, you can just keep trying until you nail that perfect generation. Let's look at the side-by-side. The before is so blurry, it's in really bad shape, and the after, it's just brought back an unbelievable amount of detail. It's like pure magic. If I zoom in on her face, you can see there are no major artifacts. It went from a blurry mess to a clear, detailed portrait. I still can't wrap my head around a tool this good being free. Now let's give it something even harder. This next image is a real challenge. The details are so tiny, it's going to have to work overtime. I'll try it at 4x first. Okay, here's the 4x result, and if I zoom in, yep, there's a problem. The woman's facial features aren't quite right, it's struggling a bit. But look at everything else. The leaves, the flowers, the fabric of her dress, the hair, the detail is fabulous. I pushed it to 6x, and while the detail on the hair and textures got even better, it didn't fix the issue with her nose and lips. This just goes to show that some images are so degraded that the AI has to guess, and sometimes it just guesses wrong. But even with that little flaw, look at the side-by-side. The overall improvement is still incredible. It has pulled detail out of thin air. All right, time for a real test of its restoration power. This next black and white image is an absolute disaster. It's so noisy you can barely see what's going on. This is a very difficult scene for an AI to figure out. So let's just throw it in the deep end and try a 7x upscale. And yeah, the result is pretty awful. It tried to predict and fix things, but it's just a jumbled mess. But don't give up. This is where we use a little trick. An image that completely bombs at a high upscale factor will often work great at a low one. So now let's take that same image and run it at just 3x. It's done in 10 seconds, and look at that. It has completely stripped away the noise and made the image unbelievably clean. Let me show you the before and after. It went from a damaged, unrecognizable photo to a perfectly clear picture. Going up to 4x starts to bring back the problem, so 3x was the magic number here. That's a huge takeaway. If high settings fail, try low settings. Let's switch gears with a macro shot. Here are two white flowers with a couple of little bugs on them. For this kind of detailed image, my gut tells me a high upscale factor is the way to go. So let's jump straight to 8x. And wow, just look at this result. It is stunningly detailed. You can see the tiny little buds inside the flower petals, the bugs are rendered perfectly, and it's even created this nice depth of field effect, blurring out the background to keep the focus right on the flowers. The side-by-side on this one is just pure satisfaction. The original is a blurry mess, and the after is a crisp, professional-looking macro shot. I am so impressed with this model. So far, it's delivering amazing results 99% of the time. Okay, another tough one. A couple kissing, but the image is very blurry, and their faces are tough to make out. My prediction is that this is going to have a hard time with the facial features. Let's try it at 8x. And by the way, here's an important tech tip. The model has a max output of 2048 by 2048 pixels. So if you're upscaling 8x, your input image needs to be around 200 by 200. If you go over that, you'll get an error, so just keep that in mind. The 8x result is done, and just like I thought, it's struggling with the lips and nose right where they meet. But look at everything else. The detail in the grass below, the texture in the hair, it's awesome. It's a flaw for sure, but considering how blurry the source was, the amount of detail it brought back everywhere else is amazing. You can even see the man's stubble. Now for the final boss. This image is in terrible, terrible condition. It's full of colorful noise, green, red, all of it. You can't make out any features on the person. No nose, no eyes, nothing. Let's try our high upscale test first and crank it to 8x. And yeah, the result is a potato. The man's face looks like a potato. The AI tried to make hair, but it's just not working. But again, we don't panic, we use our trick. Let's take that same Potato Man image and run it at 3x. And check this out. It's not perfect, but it's a wonderfully restored result. You can see individual hairs, his nose, mouth, and eyes are all there. There's still a bit of noise, and pushing it to 4x just brings back the potato face, so 3x was the sweet spot. But here's another trick. What if we do a double pass? I'll download this 3x result and then re-upload it for another go. I'll run it through again at 2x. And here's the result. The extra noise is gone, but it does look a little more artificial, a bit plasticky. The first 3x pass actually looks more natural and realistic, even with the bit of noise. So a double pass can work, but sometimes that first, more natural restoration is the way to go. Still, look at the before and after. From total visual garbage to a recognizable portrait. That is seriously impressive. Let's try another one. I've used this image of my model in other videos. I've blurred it out pretty bad. First, let's see what a 3x upscale can do. The result is pretty darn good. The face is very similar, and check out the balloons down below. They're perfect. No noise, super clean. But what if we want even better facial similarity? For that, we usually need to push the upscale factor. So let's try this at 7x. And check this out. At 7x, the facial similarity is way higher. It's almost 95% identical to the original model. The balloons have a little more noise than the 3x version, but the facial prediction is so much better. And look, it even brought back the black tattoo that was on our arm. You can't read the text, but it knew something was there. The detail in the hair, the earrings, every single hair is visible. Tell me in the comments, how good do these balloons look? I really love the detail it pulled out on them. This was a great test. Let me show you this on the before and after slider because it's just so satisfying. Look at the terrible condition of the before, and now look at the after. Wow, just wow. Okay, for our last couple of tests, I really want to hone in on famous faces because that's where you can really judge the model's accuracy and how well it keeps the likeness. I'm starting with a pixelated photo of Elon Musk. It's not as destroyed as some of the others, but it's definitely a challenge. Let's start with a 3x upscale. And the result is pretty good, but look closely, it's given him slightly green eyes, which is a weird choice. The rest of the generation is perfect. You can see every single hair. Now, let's see what happens when we push it to 7x. And there it is. Perfect. The detail is even sharper, the skin texture is more defined, and the green eye problem is completely fixed. It's given him his natural brown eyes back. This looks 100% like a real photo of Elon Musk. If I had thrown this into a lot of other AI upscalers, it would almost definitely have messed up his facial structure. But HYPIR, even from a blurry source, has kept it looking exactly like him. Let me show you this on the before and after slider because it's just so satisfying. Look at the terrible condition of the before, and now look at the after. Wow, just wow. The detail in the hair, the texture of the skin, nothing looks fake. It's a fantastic result. Next up, we'll try a blurred and pixelated image of Donald Trump. You can see it's in really bad shape. I think a 3x upscale might be enough to get a great result here. Let's see. Okay, check this out. It has done a wonderful job on his face. It looks real, and the likeness is definitely there. But there's a small issue. The American flag pin on his coat doesn't look quite right. This, however, is the perfect chance to use the prompt box. This is exactly what it's for. I'll type in USA flag badge in the prompt. I'll bump the upscale factor to 4x just to give it a fresh roll of the dice, and let's run it again. And here is the 4x result with the prompt. The slight imperfections on the face are now gone. You can see every single hair, and the flag, while maybe not a perfect carbon copy, it is way closer to the American flag now. The prompt made a huge difference. Let's look at the before and after slider. This was the garbled mess I uploaded, and now this is the final prompted result. Just incredible. It's unmistakably Trump, and the pin is fixed. That prompt feature isn't just a gimmick, it's a game-changing tool for nailing these little details. Okay, it's time for the impossible images. The ones that are so messed up, you can barely tell what they are. This next picture is in awful shape. Nothing is visible. You can just kinda sense there's a person there, but there are absolutely no facial features. Of course, running this at 7x just gives us back the same blurry mess. But as we've learned, we don't panic, we use our trick and run it at 3x. And just look at that. We have a face. The hair is detailed, but there's a slight problem with the eyes. Let's try bumping it down to 2x to see if we can fix that. And yes, the eye issue is almost totally gone. Now, if you still have a little noise like this, you can try the double step trick. I'll download this 2x result and then immediately re-upload it for another 2x pass. And there's our final image. To be honest, after the second step, it can sometimes get a little plasticky. That first 2x pass actually looks a bit more natural. But look at what we did. We went from absolutely nothing to a fully restored face. It's a flat-out miracle. Here's one more messy, blurred-out picture of a man just to really hammer the point home. A direct 8x upscale would fail, so we'll use our double-step trick right from the start. First, a 2x pass. The result is good, but still noisy. Now I re-upload that result and run it through a second 2x pass. And there it is. Each hair is visible, the eyes look great, the texture is fantastic. You can really see the power of that two-step process on these ridiculously hard images, from a total blur to this amazing upscale. And for our final test, let's properly check out that text function again. I'm uploading this image of some old license plates. You can see JX55-02 at the top, but the text on the plates below is just gibberish. If we run it at 2x without a prompt, it does a great job on the guy's face in the reflection, but the text is still unreadable. But I happen to know the original image says 1963 Alberta on one plate and farm on the other. So I'll copy that exact text and paste it right here into the prompt box. Let's run it again. And look at that! It perfectly rendered 1963 and farm. It did miss the word Alberta, so it's not perfect, but it nailed the other two. The before and after on this is night and day, a truly impressive and genuinely useful feature. All right, the testing is done, and the results really do speak for themselves. So after all that, after watching it pull details out of nothing and rebuild faces from pure noise, you're probably asking the same thing I was. How on earth is this possible? Well, the secret sauce of HYPIR is its super clever two-part system. Think of it like this. It starts with a massive, powerful diffusion model like Stable Diffusion 2. This model is like a master artist who studied millions of paintings and photos. It has a deep core understanding of what stuff is supposed to look like, what makes a face, or what tree bark should look like. But instead of using that model the slow, traditional way, HYPIR just uses its knowledge to create the perfect starting block. Then it takes that great solid foundation and passes it off to a different kind of AI, a lightweight GAN. This second AI is like a detail specialist. Its only job is to take that great starting point and rapidly sketch in all the crisp, high-frequency details and textures that make an image really pop. It's the best of both worlds. You get the deep knowledge of a diffusion model, plus the speedy, detail-oriented power of a GAN without the big downsides of either. Now for the part you've all been waiting for. Let's get this running so you can try it yourself for free with unlimited generations. First, you need to head over to their GitHub page, and I'll drop that link for you down in the description. This is where all the code lives. Now, you could follow the instructions to install it on your own PC, but we want the easy mode. Right at the top of the GitHub page, you'll see a beautiful little button that says Open in Colab. Go ahead and click that bad boy. This will open up a Google Colab notebook. If you've never used one, don't even sweat it. It's basically a free computer with a powerful GPU that just runs in your web browser. The first thing you want to do is make sure you're actually using that free GPU. Go up to Runtime in the menu, click Change Runtime Type, and in the dropdown, make sure T4 GPU is selected. Then just hit Connect. In about 10 seconds, you'll be hooked up to a powerful machine ready to rock. Now, I promise you, you do not need any coding skills for this next part. All you have to do is find the Run All button at the top and click it. A little warning might pop up, just click Run anyway. That's literally it. The script will now take over and do everything for you. It'll download the HYPIR code, install all the stuff it needs, and then download the main models. The whole process should only take a few minutes. And here's the best part about using Google Colab. You get several hours of free use every single day for each Google account you have. If you run out of time, you can just switch to a different Google account and keep on going. This is the secret to getting free and unlimited access. When the installation is all done, a public Gradio link will show up at the very bottom of the page. Click that link, and it will open up the exact same interface I've been using this whole video, ready for you to upload your own photos and work your own magic. So there you have it, a state-of-the-art image restoration tool that's not only crazy powerful, but is completely free for you to use as much as you want. I am genuinely blown away by the quality I've been able to get from this. I hope you found this deep dive helpful. Now, it's your turn. Go try it out, and let me know in the comments what amazing results you get. If you enjoyed the video, a like and a subscribe would be amazing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.